So next one is the group by operation. So how to perform group by in Power Query Editor? Okay, so first of all, let us understand what is group by operation is all about. So this is typically, you must have done it in SQL Server, right? In using SQL queries, you would have done the group by. So what is the purpose of using group by function? So the group by function allows us to perform aggregation on the selected columns. Okay, so that is what the advantage of group by. Okay, it groups rows that have same values to get the summary data, to group rows that have same values to get the summary data. In that kind of situation, we can go for we go and do group by. Okay, so when it comes to Power Query Editor, there are two types of grouping operations that you can perform. One is you can aggregate a column by using an aggregate function. What are the aggregate function? Can you all please type it in the chat window? The sum function, right? Sum function, min function, max function, the average function, right? These are the aggregation function. So based on a column, if you want to perform some aggregation, you can do the aggregation function. And apart from this is a common one. See, for example, in SQL query, you write something like that: select a region, comma, sum of sales. From let's say you have the sales table and you are doing group by. Group by on what? Region. Okay, let's say you have a data set. In the data set, you have a region column. Okay, let's say you have a region and sales column is there. So you have the north region, different days sales, you recorded here. So here they say 10,000 is there. Here you have 5,000 is there. Day 1, day 2, and again south region you have 6,000, and north region again 2,000. Your data set consists of all the regions data, and again you have the south data 2,600, and you have east region, you have something like 3,200 something. Again the east region you have something like 1,200. So likewise your data is there in your data set. Using group by, you can perform group by on a specific column on a region. So you wanted to know what is the total sales we made in each region. So this is our transaction level data we can set on a daily basis or weekly basis. Data you are seeing here. Okay, day 1, day 2, day 3. So the stakeholders, right? They don't need the transaction level sales report. They wanted to have the summarized information. So when you use group by, what will happen is group by on the region column. This is my region column. What happens? It groups it groups rows that have the similar values in the region column. So which all values, or which all rows have similar values in this one? North and north, right? So it will group these set of records. Okay, now you have a group. This is called group 1. So these two put together group 1. You just think that way, okay? And then the sum, and then what it does is it applies some function on the sales column. So 10,000 plus 5,000, 15,000 plus 2,000, 17,000. It groups the rows that have the similar values in the region column, in this case, to get the summarized value. Give me only one record. So in the group 1, so north region, north, you have north, 17,000. You can ignore this. And this is your group 1, right? In the group 1, it groups the data, the relevant data, or the rows that have same values. In this case, the region that have the similar values, n, right, in the region column. So it groups all the north region data, and then it applies the sum on this column. Fine. The next one is similarly the south region. The south region, all the south region will get grouped together. Look at these two things will group together, and then it applies the sum on the sales column. So here, what is the south region sales? 6,000 plus 2,600, 8,600. Yes, you have 8,000 in south. So north 17,000, south 8,600. So what is group by? Using group by, we can group the rows that have the same values to get the summary data. Or you can summary or summarize or aggregation. All these terms are same. Summarize, aggregation. All these two terms are same. Okay, it is not different. Some cases interchangeably, these two terms are used by your stakeholder. Okay, summarize and aggregate. Fine. So end of the day, they don't want to see the transaction data. With the given transaction data, they want to get this summarized information like this. So in that kind of situation, group by function is very much helpful. Okay, now the question is it possible only to do the group by on a single column? Yes, we can do it with more than one column. So for example, you have quarter column. So in that case, listen, you have something like comma quarter, and then the comma sum of sales. So if you have to do the aggregation like this in SQL query, this is a query that we use it. The same thing if you do it in Power Query Editor, same thing you can do it via Power Query Editor. How it works? The same way as how this query works in SQL Server or any RDBMS. If you say no, I'm not familiar with the query, fine. So what I'll do, so this is how it works. So previously explained you the region, right? Groups all the rows that have the similar values to obtain the summarized data. Here the sum of sales, right? It got applied. So in this case, can I do group by on more than one column? Yes, region, comma, quarter, region, comma, quarter. In this case, you need to select the quarter also, right? When you write it in a SQL query, but whereas you don't have to write the SQL query here. In this case, for example, you have QTR1, quarter column is there. Here, quarter one. This is quarter two, and let's know this is quarter one and quarter one, and east region you have quarter two. Okay, quarter one and quarter two. So in this case, what happens? It takes into account of these two columns before it does the aggregation. So here, which all rows are having the similar values with respect to the combination of these two columns? The quarter one north region, right? And then the quarter one north region. These two are having similar value. And we don't have any quarter one with the combination of n here, right? So in this case, this one will get grouped together. So 10,000 plus 15,000. So your output will be something like region. If you execute the above query, right, what you will get? Region, comma, quarter, okay, and then sales or total sales. Let's say total sales. This is the output. So in this case, since you have performed the group by based on the combination of these two columns, here you will find n and quarter one, the sales is 10,000 plus 5,000, 15,000. And next one is south, and you have another north record, but this falls in a second quarter. Hence, it will put n, and then the quarter is 2. And in this quarter, we have only 2,000. And similarly for south, we have two records that have the similar values with respect to the combination of quarter and region. So these two, right? These two. And in that case, yes, quarter one and 6,000 plus 2,600, 8,600. It is how it performs the group by. You can perform group by based on a single column. You can do group by based on more than one column also. The whole objective of performing the group by is to summarize the data. We do this one, okay? And there are two types of aggregation. Like I said, you can, like, so far whatever we discussed, this is one type, and other one is row operation. You can perform a row operation using group by. Okay, and next one is we have something else called the fuzzy grouping. Just give me a second here. I think in this PowerPoint it is missing. I don't know where these guys, though I repetitively telling them, they don't share me the correct one. let me do one thing. Fuzzy group. No, in this one they did not put it. They sent the wrong version. Anyway, I will explain it in this slide itself. Don't worry. Apart from group by, there is something called fuzzy grouping. Okay, you have something else called fuzzy grouping. What is fuzzy grouping? So this fuzzy grouping, you can do it only in the Power BI cloud service. You cannot do it in your, cloud service. You cannot do the fuzzy grouping in your Power BI desktop. So in the case of fuzzy grouping, what happens is it groups the text values by their similarity based on some threshold rather than exact equal values. For example, the same example, okay, I'm going to say region column and sales column is there. And here you have, somewhere they put N and this, north, they put north, and somewhere they put small letter north. And here 5,000, 10,000. Here also let's say 10,000. Okay. But here it is small letter, but here it is, the first one is the capitalized one, right? So the capital letter. And next one is someone put N O or T, N O R T, spelling mistake. Okay. And then they'll put 5,000. And then you have something called South region, same thing, somewhat similar to this. They put SOUT, something like that. Okay. And for the South, you have, let's say 2,000. Okay. So in the case of fuzzy grouping, what happens is it ignores the case. So if it is a lower case, upper case, what will happen is typically it will consider this a separate region. It will consider this one as a separate region just because these two values are not matching exactly. But we know very well these two belong to North region. Is there any way if I can tell the Power Query Editor to ignore the case? Uppercase, lowercase, you simply ignore it. Just compare the values. If these two are same, then you do group by. So not, but in this case, it is not, yeah, here it is a spelling mistake. Here, lowercase, uppercase problem. Here you have spelling mistake problem. So what happens is when it comes to fuzzy grouping, we have a feature called fuzzy grouping that is available in Power BI Cloud Service. So using which we can, by enabling it, what we can, it will not go exact match. It will not go exact match. Somewhat similar to these words, right? It will group them together. In that case, NORT will also get grouped. Okay. And South, okay, here uppercase, lowercase. It'll ignore the case. We have an option to enable ignore case in the case of fuzzy grouping. And in this case, we have some threshold value by setting this, similarity, it is something like a similarity related threshold. By setting the threshold, it'll combine these, we can set the threshold value in such a way to consider all these three values are similar. How do I set the threshold value? Like put a lesser value in the threshold, okay? If you use higher threshold value, which means the similarity should be exactly same. If you reduce the threshold value, it will, ignore the exact thing, somewhat matching all these things, hence group them together. So in the real world, what will happen is you may end up getting the data something like this. If you don't have fuzzy grouping, what will happen? It will consider each and every record as a separate group. And finally, if someone is asking you, hey, tell me North region, what is the total says, again, you need to go and group all the things manually, and then you need to compute it. In this case, hardly we have 3 records. You just assume that you have 15,880 records are there for North region. Somewhere it is capital N, somewhere it is small n, somewhere spelling mistake. Do you think you can go and check each and everything? It will take a lot of time, right? So better what you do is you can use fuzzy grouping. Fuzzy grouping, there are some options to ignore the case. Okay, and other thing, what it does is with the threshold, by setting the threshold value less, what will happen is it will group the values somewhat similar. Okay. Now we will start with understand how to do the group by in Power Query Editor. Okay, I just go to the Power Query Editor, and we will go to the Power Query Editor. This is the one Power Query Editor. This data set already loaded it in the interest of time. Okay. And look here, I selected this query sales W04. Currently, I'm in the transform, okay, in the Power Query Editor transform ribbon. And we have group by option here. I'm going to click on the group by. And here we can see that various options, order ID, count rows, and right. I'm going to select this one. Here, what I'm going to do is we have any text column. Yes, region column is available. I want to find out the total sales in each region. Okay, total sales, single record for each region. Okay, I don't want to see the transaction level data. So I have selected region here. I'm going to give the column name total sales. Total sales is obviously sum. It requires sum function. And then which column you wanted to find out the sum, which column you want to apply it on the sales column. So which column you want to do group by region column, and what you want to, which column you want to perform what kind of summarization, sum. I just click on hit OK. Look here, total sales. So east, we have so many records are there. For example, if I go back to the original data here, and if you go and check the region column, you click on the drop down here, you can see a lot of regions. Look here, you have something called North region. So let us see how many number of records are there in North region alone. I'm going to select North and I'm going to hit OK. And we have a lot of records are there, right? So we have a lot of records are there in North region. Oh my God, so many. Okay, let me do one thing. Here the like Excel, if I press Control N, it goes to the 500th record. Do we have, yeah, it goes on and on. Likewise, so many. So this many number of transaction records are there, right? We don't want to see each and every transaction for the North region. So look here, this is the region column. So this is the region. If you see the region here, it's all North. Can you all say it's a North? We don't want to see each and every record. Instead, we want to do this sum here. I'm going to delete this action. Filtered rows to I just deleted. Group by rows is there, right? So the total sales in each region, we can see this one. Okay, this is what your group by. And now the question is, okay, and this is what my group by. And is there any way if I can include an additional column, additional text column, okay, region along with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the wheel icon next to the grouped rows. Can you all see it here? Grouped rows. Next to that, we can see the wheel icon here. I'm going to click on the wheel icon. It will open up the group by window. And here, is there any way I can add another column? So click on advanced, add grouping. So here, region wise. Segment wise, you give me total sales. I'm going to add aggregation. I'm going to click on, the add aggregation so that it can create a blank record here. I'm going to say total sales. Again, I'm going to use this one. Here I'm going to use sum, and I'm going to use sales, and I'm going to add another aggregation. So average sales, and here not this one. You need to click on average sales. You want to find out average sales. Sum on, this is for the sum of sales on total sales. This one will give you the total sales. And what is this one? Total sales here. Okay, and here okay, I just want to segment, right? Region and segment. Okay, so it gives, sorry, this is a mistake. So with the combination of these two, it will give you the total sales, right? Here you don't have to additional column. This is enough. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. With the combination of region and segment, for example, East consumer. But if you see the original data, East region, so many records are there for consumer. I just show here in the East region, so many consumer related records are. I'll just go here and I'll show you the region. We have something called East region. And then in the segment, select only consumer segment. I'm going to hit OK. Look here, we have so many records are there, isn't it? We have so many records are there. With the combination of the region and then the segment, East region, and within the East region, in the consumer segment, you can see a lot of records are there. Look here, East region, right? East region, and the consumer thing, you have so many things. I'm going to clear the filter now. I'm going to select, I'll do select all because we want all the records. And then I just go segment column also. I'm going to clear the filter. Okay, I click on the clear filter so that all the segments, let it be there. Just for you people to understand, I just did that. Okay. And okay, next one is the group rows. This is what we can say. So there are some issues. I think there is some bug here. Okay. Look here in East region, in the consumer segment, we saw so many records were there, wasn't it? So, and all the records put together in the East region with the combination of consumer, you can see the total sales. This is how much, this is what we arrived, right? And then average sales is the average sales. And similarly, in the Oceania corporate segment, how much sales we made, in the Oceania consumer segment, and in the central region, in home office segment, how much total we made. So in this case, it took into account of these two columns. How it was possible? You just click on it. Because look here, region and segment, these two columns we have used it, right? These two columns we have used it. The combination of these two, it did the aggregation. It used the sum function and average function on the sales column. Hence, we have two numeric column, two text values. Okay, with the common East and consumer, and it gave me this much total sales. So we did a group by on two columns, region, comma, segment. Got it? Okay, fine. So the next one is I'm going to use the same data set. I'm going to click on the wheel here. And here I'm going to add an aggregation. We have something called all rows. When you click on all rows, you will not find anything here. Here, let's say we will say the transaction data. Transactional data. Okay, and that's all. That means it will display the transaction level data along with the summarized data, like sum of sales, all this is along with it, it will give you the transactional data. Since I have used all rows, you can see that, this column, in this column, you can see table till the end, start from the beginning to till the end, we can see the table. And if you click on here, somewhere next here, right? If you click on it here, not on top of the table, next to the table, you need to click on empty space. When you click on it, it will give you for this record, the combination of East and consumer, how many number of records are there. Look here, many records are there, right? Similarly, when you keep the cursor over here, okay, it shows the records that belong to Oceania, corporate segment and consumer segment, So look here. Can you all see it here? The corporate segment, in the case of Oceania region, where is the Oceania? Look here, Oceania. See, when the user, they wanted to see the group by values with the combination of these two columns, they want to see the total sales and average sales. The combination of these two, they can do it. But at the same time, right, if we can give them an option to view, hey, what contributes this much sales? I'm so thrilled to know what contribute, which transaction. If you want to, see that way, you can, this one is much helpful. If they scroll down and see, they will get to know that. Look at this is what your sales column. But here, unfortunately, they did not give the sorting option here. Ideally, they could have given it here, okay, so that you can sort this data in ascending or descending order so that we can test it out quickly, okay. But here, the table, right, so you can see this way. And also, is there any way I can expand this table? Yes, you can click on the double arrow here. Look here, so what are the columns that you wanted in that? I just need only the year. Let's assume that, okay. I just want need the year and day column. And segment column. And I'm going to uncheck this. I'm going to hit OK now, because I don't want each column to be prefixed by the table name. That's why I removed it. Look here, the average is repeated here, right? The average is repeated for this one because the day is there and year is there. Okay, I just do one thing. I'll just go here and then I'm going to sort descending. Latest year, okay, the latest transaction 2014. In 2014 year, and you can see that in Friday we made this much sales, and again another Friday we made this much. So this is, see here, the total sales remains constant. Okay, on Friday, how much total sales we made, and again the Friday, it gives me the transaction level data along with the summarized data. Okay, that is what, again, you need to look at this segment also. Okay, simply, if you want to include your aggregated value, total sales and average sales, along with that, if you want to display the transaction level data and make the transaction level data as part of your aggregate data, that is possible with perform all rows option. Got it or not? I'll just write it here. I think most of you got confused. 1 second. See. So I have some, the same example, region, comma, sales. N and south, N east, west, and N here and south here, and east is there. Okay, in the north I have 10, and here also 10. We'll put something like that. Okay, for the sake of learning. Okay, N. Okay, so the total is 30, right? What it does is it puts N 30. And again, it puts, in this case, 30, and N is 10, right? 30. So all these three things will get grouped. Which one? All the north related records will get grouped. Okay, will get grouped. And then it applies the sum on the sales column. Sum of sales in north region is total sales. So this is your 30 total sales. Along with that, what made up this 30? Can you give me the transaction? Yes. So here, if it gives something like N is 10, and again, we have another transaction, we sold 10. Again, we have another transaction we sold. So this 30 was made up by 3 different transactions, and each transaction in north region, we could see that we sold 10 units. You just think that way. Along with this summarized data, transaction data also, if you want to display it, that is when the perform all role option is very much helpful. Got it? That is what we are seeing it here. If you see here in the case of, okay, I'll just put the segment and, okay, these two things are together. Okay, already. So in the East region, I'll just do one thing. I'll just go here and then I'm going to unselect everything. I'm going to select only the East region. And the East region consumer segment. Let's take the subset of the data and then validate whatever I said was correct, right? So here in the consumer segment, if I select it with the combination of East region and the consumer segment, this many number of records are there. Though you have so many number of records, look here, the total sales for the East consumer segment, it repeats here, right? Even the average also repeats across the rows. But if you see here, where is the sales column? Okay, here I did not include sales column. That is the, 1 second. I just in this one, I'm going to include the sales column also. Okay, this is your simple sales column. If you wanted to display the transaction data also along with the total sales, insert step. Can you see it? So now we have filtered the East region consumer segment. But if you see the total sales we made in the East region consumer segment, this is what it is repeating across the rows. Average sales, this is the one repeating because these two are summarized. Along with the summarized data, is there any way that I can display the transaction? So this is on day 1, how much sales we made. Day 2, right? So that is what we can see here. So along with this summarized information, if you want to display the transaction level data, perform all rows is very much helpful. Cool. Okay. I just duplicate this for the sake of you people to understand. Okay. I just rename it as total average sales by region and segment. I'm going to press enter. That's it. If somebody wants to see, hey, give me the sum of sales, total sales and average sales along with the transactional data. Is it possible for you to give in a single query? Yes, that is possible like this. With the help of the perform all rows, look here, I just show you one more time. Yeah, this is the expanded one. Let me go here and then look here. Here I have used, all rows, perform all rows, right? All rows. Yes, all rows. The all rows here, we cannot specify anything here because we don't want to do the aggregation. in the third column, this is your first column. The totals is your first column, and then average is your second column. The other one is the third column, right? So you have three different columns. And for the third column, we want the transactional data, which needs to be displayed for each and every record. Sorry, transactional record for each and every group, right? In this case, the grouping, we did it with the combination of region and segment. So is it clear or is it confusing?